Hello everybody, in this video we'll talk about a couple of things. First of all, what do you do if your case that you just filed with USCIS got rejected? How do you handle a rejected case? What are the steps you have to follow? I'm going to break it down to you step by step. And also we'll talk about USCIS updated policy to extend flexibility when you respond to a request for evidence, notice of intent to deny, any motion that you file. That has also been extended, and we'll talk about the details, what it means, and until when that was extended. So let's get right into it. Hello everybody, and welcome back to our immigration channel. This is a place where you get the most up-to-date immigration updates, immigration news, and everything else that you need to make your immigration journey less stressful. My name is Jacob Sapochnik, and I'm an immigration attorney based in San Diego, California, and I help clients in all 50 states. If you're here for the first time, make sure to subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos, and also give us a big like so YouTube will be able to share this video with more people just like you. In this video, I want to talk about a recent update for USCIS's continued flexibility to allow response time to certain applications and petitions, and I'm going to go over what they are in a second. If you remember, this is starting on March 30th. They kept extending the flexibility by 60 days at a time. The most recent one extends to applicant and petitioners that are responding to applications that were issued from March 1st, 2020 all through June 1st, 2021. And the petitions are as following: request for evidence, continuation for request for evidence form N14, notices of intent to deny, notices of intent to revoke, and notices of intent to rescind, notice of intent to terminate, and all the various motions to reopen, including those for N400, including motion to reopen form I-290B, which is really important to get that one on time. What does it actually mean in practice? The USCIS will consider a response to these notices within 60 days, 60 calendar days after the original due date of these notices. So that gives you an extra 2 months to respond to any of the above notices, as I mentioned before. And once again, the reason they're doing that is because of the pandemic. It was more difficult for people to gather evidence, to gather original documents from different courts or municipalities because they're also closed. And so USCIS recognizes that it's a problem and therefore extended it by another 60 days per notice. Now let's talk about what happens if you actually miss a deadline and your case gets rejected. If your case gets rejected for a different reason. So based on things that are happening in our office and many other immigration attorneys reporting, USCIS have been rejecting many cases in the past few months. And some of these rejections are absolutely crazy. Let's talk about some recent cases that have been rejected as reported by the American Immigration Lawyers Association. And also I can tell you that we had a view of those in our office. And these examples include the following: cases filed without signatures on certain forms, some forms that are incomplete, some forms that instead of putting an A are left blank. We've seen cases returned just because of that, just because of one missed box. They were returned, rejected. Another common reason is people send incorrect filing fees. Sometimes they think that they can bulk all the filing fees in one check, but they forget the fingerprints fee and the whole filing fee is being returned. Now remember, the problem is that because it's taking so long for immigration to receive cases, sometimes even 2 months, by the time they get your case accepted and they realize that it was filed improperly and they send it back to you, it is too late because either the person is out of status or the person is no longer eligible to refile. Typically when a case is rejected and the person is still eligible to get the benefit, what we do simply is just refile the case, immediately repackage it, make sure it's correct, and FedEx it right to the USCIS, and there's no issue. But what happens when you can't just resubmit it because you're out of status anymore, or because you lost the eligibility? Here are some of the things that we recommend for you to do. For example, if your case was rejected by USCIS logbooks, it's important to write back to them and explain to them why the case was rejected by error, and they should accept it back. Because remember, you can't just refile it, because if you're not eligible anymore for the benefit, you have to resubmit the case and request the USCIS logbox to reconsider and take your case back if possible, because it's really important, otherwise you're not going to be able to proceed further. In addition to that, we recommend to request assistance from the USCIS Ombudsman's office, and we can link a link in the description of this video as to how to contact their office, and they can help you to liaise on the case and figure out where the mistake was and hopefully get this case back into processing if you can refile your case. Remember, the first step would be to refile if you can. That's the easiest and the fastest thing to do. But if you can't, and you can show that it wasn't your mistake, they took them forever, 2-3 months to process the case, they should be accepting this case right now so it won't hurt your future immigration status. Now, what do you do if it wasn't their mistake and it was your mistake or your attorney's mistake? One thing you can do is what is called file a request for Knack pro tunc, which is basically take time back in a way, and have them still reevaluate by explaining that it was your fault or your attorney's fault. And if it wasn't for the USCIS 2-3 months processing, and if it wasn't for USCIS taking 2-3 months to process the case, this case would have been already rejected 2-3 weeks ago, a month ago, while the applicant was still in status, and then we would just refile it and the case would have been processed correctly. But because USCIS is taking now 3-4 months sometimes to receive the case, and it was the error of the applicant, it is important to try this Knack pro tunc thing, which basically tells the government, please take the case back in time. If it wasn't for your 3 months processing, we could have just simply refiled this case. Please consider it. It's going to be devastating for the applicant to fail to receive this benefit. And sometimes they'll consider, sometimes if your arguments are strong enough, they'll be able to take your case even if it's filed late, even if it was your mistake. So just a few suggestions. We've done this before and it did work. So once again, hopefully the information in this video was helpful. Make sure that you understand that there's more flexibility from USCIS. They are giving more time to file for requests for evidence and for other applications. And also remember that sometimes even if you're late, even if the case is rejected, even if it's your fault, there are ways to fix it. But specifically right now we see a lot of issues that are coming from USCIS. Sometimes they miss applications, sometimes they reject cases in error. There are ways to fix it, and make sure you follow the advice in this video, and hopefully it will help you save your case as well. Once again, share this video with somebody that may need this information. If you need a consultation to discuss your specific case problem, make sure you text me 619-483-4549, and I'll be happy to set up a consultation and help you with your individual case. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in our next video.